So, 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮 City. So there's a few things we need to do. First, we can talk to the goat. So, in this game, there's not that many Easter eggs as there was in the first game. I don't think how many there was. The goat's one of them. It's like 2 or 3, which is quite sad. But they're not easy to get. So, this goat is basically the game's way of playing on the goat theme because of the goat from the first game. How much everyone hated it. So we can toss the goat. Let's do this. Goat's got nothing to say.
Now, I like most animals, but experience had made me wary of goats, and cats, and dogs.
I don't know what he's got against cats. Like, goat from the first game, dog from the second game, and was there a cat in the first game? I don't think there was. I mean, there probably might have been. Can't really remember. So if you give the if you give the goat a lucky piece of coal, this happens.
What was that? It's a lump of lucky coal. Coal? I would have preferred chocolate. Any flavor, so long as it hasn't got marzipan in it. God, I hate marzipan. You can talk. I mean, you're a talking goat. Keep your voice down. This is between you and me, right? Well, I guess so. Now, I mean it. You tell anyone you've spoken to me, and you'll be cursed.
That's so random. I absolutely love it. Oh, it's amazing. I love his voice as well. I get to play on probably some old movie star, but yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Love it. Love it. It's like, don't tell anyone who you cursed. Brilliant. Let's talk to the band. Thank you, Mr. Goat. Brightened up my day. Lovely. Is that Pearl fucking Henderson? We'll call her Pearl the Earthquake Henderson because it sounds cool.
Hey, cheer up, guys. What's with the long faces?
Our pipe player has been arrested and thrown in jail.
Poor Miguel. He never broke the law in his life.
That's what he gets for playing with his pipe in public, eh? I could ask him about all this crap, but there's no reason to. The thing with this part of the game is it's you can ask people a load of nonsense, and you know it doesn't forward the story. So we'll ask him about Miguel, and that's
Why was Miguel put in jail?
For playing folk music.
What?
It's true, senor. He insisted on playing traditional 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮 music, even though it's illegal.
It's illegal to play your own music. Brilliant.
Why don't you try playing a tune to cheer yourselves up?
No, we should be looking for real jobs.
We could earn 10 times as much down the mines. My cousin Ramirez was earning 8 pesos an hour.
Before he lost his legs in the accident.
Oh.
Tell me about the accident at the mine.
There was an explosion at 𝘱𝘍𝑢𝑙𝑐𝑎n. 30 miners were buried alive.
They got some of them out, though.
2 of them, including your cousin, and they left half of him behind.
Gee, that's savage. So your dog biscuits are basically like your hand buzzer or your dirty tissue from the first game. You can like ask people if they want a biscuit, which is funny.
Would either of you guys care for a biscuit?
A dog biscuit, senor?
Are you trying to insult us?
No, really, they're good.
We'll take your word for it.
So the only other thing you like about it is this statue, because this statue is really evil, isn't it? Like this.
Have you seen anything like...
I, the hungry chief.
Why are you carrying that thing around with you, senor? Don't you know who it is?
No. Do tell me.
It is 𝘨𝑚𝘮𝑗𝑙𝑎, god of death and blood.
There we go. Let's cut the poker.
Take a look at the design on this label.
I have seen that before.
Where?
There was a ship flying a flag just like that.
When did you see this ship?
3 months ago. It was here, at the docks.
Okay, maybe I do have to ask him some questions.
What was the ship with the condor flag carrying?
I don't know, senor. We weren't allowed near the docks.
That's right. Usually we meet the ships when they tie up.
We play to the tourists.
Well, when the Condor ship came in, we were told to go away.
It's probably because it's not a tourist ship. It's a container. It's a cargo ship, isn't it? I think that's it. I don't think you have to ask him anything else. I really don't want to spend all day just talking to these random people for nothing. So we're going to talk to Pearl because Pearl is fucking hilarious. She's for the first game, by the way. She's in Marib in Syria.
𝘱𝘍𝘏𝘮𝘀, well of all the...
Mrs. Henderson. Boy, this is some coincidence, huh?
When you've been married to a fruitcake like Duane as long as I have, you stop believing in coincidence.
I'd met Pearl and Duane on the other side of the globe in Syria. He was an Army veteran who suspected he was working for the CIA, but wasn't sure. She was less obviously deranged.
Oh, man. Pearl, George comes off as being such a bastard towards Pearl and Duane. You know, like, he calls her deranged. Quite rude of him, really. Remember last time we sold them a dodgy statue? Whoopsie.
Is Duane here with you, Mrs. Henderson?
Why, sure, I couldn't leave him home alone. Since Duane came back from the war, we couldn't bear to be apart.
So, where is he now?
We ain't speaking.
Brilliant. I love Pearl's voice in this game. Very nice.
Why aren't you speaking to Duane?
Because he's an old spoil sport sourpuss. I want to visit one of those old pyramid places, but Duane says he has to stay in town.
Right. And you don't want to go on your own.
Well, there's no point in going to the pyramid if there's no one around to take my picture.
But selfie sticks are for.
Is Duane still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he doesn't realize is that now he really does work for them. At least that's the way I understood it.
That's so overly complicated. So overly complicated. It's so confusing.
What brings you to 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴, Pearl?
What takes me just about anywheres? The market.
You drove 2,000 miles to go shopping?
Shopping is my role in the economy of the great design, George.
Very odd. Don't think she needs anything else. Let's throw the worm.
Look at this, Pearl. A tequila worm.
Don't you bring that thing anywheres near me, honey. I swear I'll scream like a hog on a hot plate.
Why is he still carrying this fucking worm around with him for? Bloody George.
Catch you later, Pearl.
So if we come over this way, Duane should be. I think he's in a truck. Yeah, that's the truck. That's Duane.
It was Pearl's husband, Duane. Hey, Mr. Henderson. Good to see you again.
Do I
I
know
love how they're
you,
wearing the
son?
same clothes.
George 𝘱𝘍𝘏, remember? In Syria? I sold you a statue.
I remember that. Pearl was mighty vexed when the paint came off.
Look, I'm sorry. I'll give you back the $50.
No, you suckered me fair and square.
Nice.
Are you still working for... you know who?
You know I can't talk about my work, George. That's between me and Uncle Sam.
Show him these panties.
What do you think of these panties, Duane?
Lord, hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No, a guy we know in Paris bought them for her.
Oh, you're a threesome then. Why are you looking at me like that, George?
Little pause.
Get it.
That's George's way of saying, absolutely not. Give him a top biscuit.
Would you like a biscuit, Duane?
Oh no, those gourmet dog snacks bring me out in a rash.
We just tried them before.
You've tried them?
They were on special offer. Pearl bought a whole crate. When I asked her if she was thinking of keeping a dog too, she just laughed.
She bought them just for Duane. How nice.
Would you like to borrow my lucky piece of coal, Duane?
What's so lucky about it?
Well, we made it to 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴 in one piece.
When you've been here a few days, you won't look on that as luck.
So I just realised that the dialogue tree, as you can call it, is different than the one in Broken Sword 1. And in Broken Sword 1, all your items that you have in your pocket were normally displayed at the top of the screen. You know, your miscellaneous crap that you didn't really need to show anyone. And your conversation was down at the bottom. But nowadays, well, now in Broken Sword 2, it's everything's together. Or it basically only lets you talk about things that the game wants you to talk about, which is kind of weird. It means that I can't show random crap to people. Like, I want to show the pants to Pearl and ask her what she thinks about them, but obviously we can't.
Do you know anything about a shipping company called Condor Transglobal?
Sure I do. You have to get up pretty early to catch Duane with his pants down.
What? You beat me to it?
Condor Transglobal is all wound up. Seems like my investigations scared them off.
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel, you'd think she'd been trucking half her life.
Why did you bring a huge truck like that?
George, I'm on a top-secret classified mission for Uncle Sam. This truck is a rolling bomb. 400 pounds of nitrate fertilizer with a plastique initiator. They'll hear the bang in China. Gee, I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, he's got a truck full of explosives. Surely if that goes off, it's going to kill everyone around here. Like, that can't be a good thing. What about this dude here? Mr... I don't know, he looks weird. I don't know if he's lost his legs or he's just sitting with his knees crossed. Or sitting on his knees.
I spoke to Pearl earlier.
Murderer.
Yeah? Did she mention that we had a kind of falling out?
Yes, she did.
She'll get over it.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has been imprisoned just because of the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
It's an agitator, eh?
What's the real reason the musician was imprisoned?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines. That so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Sounds like a comic book villain to me, son.
He wishes he was.
He's the man behind Condor, and the rat who kidnapped Nico.
You know, the first time I met you, I was deeply impressed with your naive simplicity. I said to Pearl, if we ever had kids, I would have wanted a boy like George. But I underestimated you, son.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Let's have a look in here.
It was one of the cell windows.
Yeah, I know it's a cell window, George. What did you look in it?
There was a forlorn-looking guy asleep on the floor of the jail. It was Miguel, the pipe player. Hey, Miguel! He didn't hear me.
Well, he chooses not to hear you because he's an arsehole. So Miguel's been thrown in prison because he was handing out subversive literature? So he's handing out crap to incite a riot. So we will go inside the policia station.
Hey, Nico!
And see the most slimiest character in the game. He makes 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮 look like a saint. 𝘱𝘶𝘣𝘮𝘮𝘮.
I have done just as I have been instructed, Professor. With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavations. Ah, I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
That's suspicious.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, senor. Welcome to 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴.
Thanks. My name's George Stobart from California.
I love how he has
But
to
what
say he's from
is
California.
An angel come down to earth.
Nicole Collard. Enchanté, mon général.
Ugh.
Pardon me, senorita, but I couldn't help myself.
Look,
George's face.
we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, senor. Tourist information. General Graciento, at your service.
He's wearing his medals on the wrong side of his chest. I just realised. Should be over his heart. Tony just realised that. General, my ass. This guy puts on his cosplay in the general, isn't he? A prick. So if he kissed Nico's hand. What a dick. Oh, I really want to punch him in the face. I hate this guy. He's a slimy little shit.
Do you know anything about the forthcoming eclipse, General?
Such things do not interest me, senor.
It's quite funny because he's always sitting here smiling with the Joker face. Hold on, let's leave for a second.
I'll be back.
We need to do this. Before I forget, this is mighty important. If you don't look at the chart, you're never going to get anywhere in this game.
Senor,
What?
leave that chart alone.
Oh, man, it's just looking at your map. There's a... I really don't want to talk to him too much. It's really annoying. I don't like him. Let's... should we be...
Do you have a map of 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴?
A map? I'm sorry, senor, but I don't.
What about the one on the wall?
Ah, that is an archaeological survey map, senor. Not suitable for tourists.
I hear there was an accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮.
Oh.
A visitor, senor, like yourselves.
Did you say 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮?
Si, senor. Professor 𝘨𝘨𝘮𝘮, a French archaeologist.
That's the old man was looking for.
What's 𝘨𝘨𝘮 doing in �𝘮𝘮𝘮?
Researching our rich and glorious past, senor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
Would you like a biscuit?
Are you trying to bribe me?
Well, every man has his price.
Mine is more than a dog cookie, Senor Stobart.
So he's willing to accept bribes. Interesting.
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, senor. �𝘮𝘮𝘮 has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to conduct a guided tour. When he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
Okay. So basically our objective for now is to get inside the cell to talk to Miguel. Unfortunately, we can't get inside because we need to get rid of El General and then Ronaldo as well. So the way you get rid of Ronaldo is you ask him to take Pearl to on a guided tour basically. But to do that you have to jump through a few hoops, which I can't remember what they are, to be honest, so we're just gonna have to keep talking to this asshole.
What do you think of these panties, General?
Oh boy, fabuloso!
They're yours if you'll tell me all you know about Karzak.
Karzak? I never heard of him. Do I get the panties now? I told you all I know.
You told me nothing.
Why does he want those pants so much? Interesting. A weirdo.
Take a look at this label.
Si, senor.
Can you tell me where to find their offices?
No, senor. I never heard of them, and neither did Ronaldo.
You notice that the Kazakh icon disappeared when we asked him, when we showed him the pants. Basically means that he has literally nothing to say about Kazakh. He knows who he is, but he won't tell us who he is because he's an arsehole.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴?
Yes, there is. An emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots, and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happened in your country.
What a savage and true remark. Yeah, take that, George.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Are you sure you never heard of Condor?
Oh, yes.
The company is registered here in 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴 City.
You are mistaken, senorita.
The musicians out in the square say that a ship flying the Condor flag was birthed here.
They are simple peasants. They will go along with anything you say in the hopes of parting you from your money.
Condor is run by Karzak, isn't it?
Wrong again, senor. Karzak has nothing to do with anything called Condor. Whoever he is.
Do you keep a record of companies registered in 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴?
Of course, senorita.
Oh.
Unfortunately, all the records were destroyed
Oh, isn't that
by a
coincidence?
flash flood.
I'll be back.
I don't want to show him that stone just yet. If you show him the stone, Nico gets quite pissed. Plus, you shouldn't be showing that stone to anyone. It's like George with that
I'm
bloody
George Stone.
diamond of
Hello, senor.
was it the
How
gem of
can I help?
𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮? Remember when George had the gem of 𝘨𝘨𝘮 in his pocket? He was going around showing it to everyone. He was like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Who's this dude?
Do you recognize this statue?
𝘱𝘦𝘴𝘭𝘮𝘮, the night wind. Take it away, senor. That stone is cursed.
Really don't like 𝘱𝘦𝘴𝘭𝘮, do they?
You know anything about this eclipse?
No, senor. El General keeps me in the dark about most things.
Oh, so he... what? Does he not do anything without the general telling him to?
Would you like a gourmet dog snack biscuit?
I would love one, senor, but I would have a problem with my teeth.
Toothache?
No, senor. If the General catches me eating on duty, he'll knock them out.
Holy shit. That's some forced labor right there.
Are there any ancient pyramids near 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴?
Si, senor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect. Would you be willing to give a guided tour of the ruins?
I can't. The General would have a fit if I left all this paperwork.
I'd like to visit your prisoner.
Condemned prisoners aren't allowed visitors.
Condemned?
To death. He is to be executed. Knowing my luck, I will probably have to shoot him myself.
Amnesty International is going to hear about this.
That seems a bit extreme, doesn't it?
I thought Miguel was arrested for playing the wrong kind of music.
Si, senor, he was.
And that carries the death penalty?
No. You think we're crazy? While being questioned, he confessed to being an anti-government agent.
Yeah. Did he confess under duress by any chance? Did you hold a gun to his head? Or a knife to his throat? To force that confession? These guys are basically what the Inquisitions were.
So long.
Pricks. So if you show the stone to the general, Nico's like, what the hell did you just show him the stone, you dumbass? But I didn't, because I'm a good boy.
Did you notice that chart on the police station wall?
Yes, it looked like a map to me, but I couldn't make out the details.
Whatever it was, the general didn't want us to see it. Would you like a biscuit?
Gourmet dog? Have you been eating those things, Georges?
Sure, they're great.
What's he eating biscuits for?
That man we saw talking to the general was 𝘱𝘨𝘮𝘮. Didn't you recognize him?
I never met him, remember? The guy I called in Paris claimed to be 𝘱𝘨𝘮, but he sounded nothing like the man in the police station. Maybe the professor really is innocent.
Nah, it's too much of a coincidence that he's here in 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮. You came on a little strong with the general.
I was merely flattering his ego, Georges. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe, but that guy's weakness isn't in his foot.
Yeah, it's in his pants.
𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘮 tells me he's been seeing a lot of you.
We meet sometimes for lunch, a drink. After you'd gone back to the States, I was pretty lonely, you know.
Lonely? You must have been desperate. Couldn't you just visit the zoo or something? Guess what this is? Go on, guess.
It's wrought iron, probably from a chimney stack on an old stove.
Well, I suppose it could be.
How did you know that?
How did she know that?
My grandfather used to work in a foundry.
Wow. And that just automatically lets you know what that is. Interesting.
Do you have any theories about this stone?
I think that design represents a dog, a Mexican dog.
So, this is the sacred Chihuahua stone? Sheesh.
Being so pessimistic, George.
Take a look at this.
Mon Dieu! Where did you get that kind of money?
It's not mine. I found that statement at 𝘱𝘨𝘮𝘭𝘪𝘏𝑒's house. Take a look at this.
An eclipse of the sun. Why the sudden interest in astronomy?
I found the cutting in 𝘱𝘨𝘮𝑒's house.
Apparently, it's only visible from Central America.
Take a look at this, Nico.
That's disgusting, George. Why are you carrying it around with you?
I don't know. I just can't seem to part with it.
Just can't seem to part with it.
There was nothing else I want.
Okay, so if you come over this way, 𝘱𝘨𝘮 should be talking to Duane. If I remember correctly, I do.
Professor 𝘱𝘨𝘮?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is 𝘱𝘍𝘏𝑎rt. George 𝘱𝘍𝘏𝑎rt.
Oh god, do we need to ask him about everything? Let's ask him about
Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh, yes. 𝘱𝘨𝘮𝘏𝘮, the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. 𝘱𝘨𝘮𝘏𝘮 means literally smoking
He said
mirror.
the name of the
There.
game.
You see the mirror shield in his left hand? The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims, and victims they gave him by the thousand.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see it.
Yeah, the Mayans said a lot of things, didn't they, that didn't come true. Superstitious bullcrap. I'll say it to that.
Do you see this label?
Hate superstitious
Yes.
crap like that.
It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here to 𝘥𝑦𝑟𝑎monte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
Oh, that's a coincidence.
I have proof that you are directly involved with Condor.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris. Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
Ask me about the stone.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
This is the stone my girlfriend called you about. The stone that nearly cost Nico her life.
I assure you, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you said something different than the last time I played this game. He normally wants to buy it from you.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in 𝘥𝑚onte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
Would you like a biscuit?
No, thank you.
You should, they're good. I can't get enough of these things.
Who's eating them?
Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, 𝘱𝘍𝑎𝑟𝑡. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
Have you ever employed a Central American butler or servant?
I've never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
So what the hell was Pablo doing in his house then? I mean, we know Pablo worked for Kozak. So, yeah.
What are you doing in 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴, Professor?
Seeking Mayan artifacts. Central American history has been my life's work.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In fact, if it wasn't for Kazak, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
That's something new. So Kozak's using 𝘱𝘨𝘮𝘴 to find Mayan artifacts and then shipping them, smuggling them to Paris?
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History's my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was a child. I wouldn't miss a total eclipse for the world.
It's funny, this guy's supposed to be French. He has absolutely no French accent.
Does the eclipse have some special significance for you?
From me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the 5th age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale.
I like how the
5th
music
is the
changes.
final age, ending in the total destruction of the earth.
That's a load of nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Tell me about your wife, Professor.
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
This is brutal, but fuck it.
You shot her, didn't you?
No! I loved Carol. She meant the world to me.
Holy shit, George. Savage.
Do you think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general,
I'm a Buddhist.
No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴.
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
La Presidenta. Oh, he's basically a puppet for his ma. So we could talk to Pearl again. Should we talk to Pearl again? I don't think we need to, really.
I hear you drove all the way to 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴 in a truck.
That's right. You would not believe the state of some of those roads. Makes me downright sad to think there's still some places you can't reach in an automobile. In this day and age, you'd think there'd be decent highways just about anywhere folk choose to go.
Did you know that the truck was full of explosives?
Whatever gave you that idea, as if I couldn't guess?
Your husband. He was exaggerating, wasn't he?
Sometimes I wonder how I'm gonna cope with Duane's over-fertile imagination.
Have you met the guy who calls himself the General?
No, I haven't. Is he a real general?
I guess so. He wears a lot of medals on his chest. The wrong side of his chest. At least for any army I'd ever seen.
I know he was wearing him on the wrong side of his chest. Thomas. I bet his mum dresses him.
Catch you later, Pearl.
Okay, so what's this band? Let me tell him about Miguel or...
Tell me about the General. You know, the guy in charge around here.
We don't want to talk about him, senor.
How come? No one can hear you. Well, only that old goat.
In 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴 we have a saying. Don't tell your old goat what you don't want your wife to know.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay then. You won't talk to them. I don't want to touch this guy again. So we're going to head in towards 𝘨𝘮𝘮𝘴 Mining Corporation. So these are obviously responsible for the mine that was... what did I say? It was sabotaged, wasn't it? It collapsed.